and welcome back to another episode of the Real Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jacob O'Connor. Real Conversations is a podcast for those dedicated to doing hard things and living a meaningful life. Today, I'm joined by All-American and my good friend, Joseph Holthusen.
What's up?
Dude, welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me back.
You were on, was it last spring, or when was the last time you came on?
Yeah, I think it would have been maybe this fall or something like that. It was probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably longer.
Maybe longer.
Because I left for Florida in like October.
True. Dude, I lose track of time, man.
It's crazy. Well, because that's what my entire point was going to be. Your last year has been insane. Like, you're engaged.
Yeah.
You're in your final year of track. You're working on some more board games, a couple of entrepreneurial things.
Yep.
But, like, you've just been having one huge life event after another.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been big. The past year since the podcast, I got engaged in November. We set a date for about a year and a month from July 12th of 2025. And then
You have the exact date down already?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And then I made a new board game that I'm thinking about kickstarting. Looking for a job right now. I've got one assignment left that I'm probably going to turn in tonight, and then I'm done with my MBA.
Dude.
So, yeah.
So do you walk then for that?
Yeah, we're going to have an alternate. We're going to walk separately because we're going to be at conference this week. So we're going to walk after we get back on Monday.
How does it feel having all of these things coincide and happen at the same time?
Dude, it's crazy. Well, so last year it was kind of a similar thing where there was just so much happening. Me and Marissa, my fiance, we ended up making a list of things that were just happening every month, and the list is it's like 2 pages long, just different things, good and bad that happened, and things just keep coming. And even like yesterday, like we had the senior recognition at our track meet, and I tried to not let it sink in that I was gonna be graduating and be done with track after 6 years at WSU. I tried to not let it sink in, and it sunk in yesterday when they were announcing my name.
Did you get a little emotional?
Yeah. Before the 4x1 too. It actually helped. I was kind of thinking about it all day, and then I got a little emotional, and then it actually kind of helped. Get some of that adrenaline out before the race, and ended up running pretty good. So,
do you know? I mean, I felt this on a smaller scale. I mean, basketball was my whole life in high school. John and I played AAU. Like, we were very serious. Like, I was dead set on playing in college and whatever. Yeah. And when that ended, I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, who am I even? Because basketball was everything. And so I can only imagine, like, you had a great collegiate career, a D1 collegiate career, which is far and away much better than anything I ever did in high school. Do you have an idea or a plan for how you're going to handle that transition?
Well, so what you were saying about basketball, like I had a similar thing with football. I'd played for 10 years. Yeah. And after I was done, I at least had like track to fall back on. But I know that feeling. You're like, man, I'm never going to play this sport again. Yeah. With track, I still plan to be fit and be in the weight room, and
I would hope, and
maybe do some running. I don't think I could go like half marathons and stuff, and especially doing what you're doing, the longer races. But with with the like 5Ks and stuff, maybe some of those. Yeah. I was actually sitting there thinking about, I was like, am I really going to sit at a desk for 8 hours every day? And sometimes that's fine if you really enjoy your job. But I was like, man, maybe I really need to buckle down and start trying to sell some board games. Cause I don't know if if I'm making good money, I could sit at a desk, but otherwise I need to try and do some entrepreneurial stuff. So
background, you and I both interned at a large publicly traded company a couple of years ago. That's how we actually met. And my personal take on that is that you and I were in the same boat of sitting down all day doing this at a desk is going to be the death of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I see that for you. I know you could do very well, like working for someone else in a career like that, but you definitely have like an entrepreneurial itch of like, I just want to figure something out and I want to dictate my schedule and like just kind of do things my own way.
Yeah. And right now with what I've got going and doing marketing research stuff is fine. I like being able, cause I'm talking to a bunch of different companies and all that sorts of stuff, which helps. But even with, like, I didn't go into finance because I knew that all I'd be doing is like sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
So I did industrial engineering because I knew I could at least be in the shop. I did that for my undergrad, and then for my MBA, I wanted to specialize because I know I could get the general MBA as well. But marketing and talking to other people and learning about sales and just marketing techniques was more interesting to me than just another MBA or finance or something. I just, it's hard for me to sit in the same place all day. So.
Right. I think you got to move some board games.
I think I do too. Yeah.
So before we dive into that, I want to circle back on a couple of things. The first one being, I halfway debated, I think you'd already left to come here to record it. And I was like, I should ask him if he wants Marissa to come on. It would have been kind of fun to have both of you on here because she's also an athlete at Wichita State. That's how I got to know hers whenever I started Player Card, working with college athletes whenever they could monetize their name, image, and likeness. She was like one of the first athletes I ever worked with.
Yeah.
And so she was super nice and great, and then found out that you guys were dating, and it was like, whoa, we all became friends. And I think telling your story would have been kind of cool, but then also hitting on her athletic career could have been neat.
Yeah. We'll do that sometime. She actually didn't have too bad of a semester with work, and then she got hit with like 9 assignments this week.
Oh,
so
geez.
yeah, she's doing that right now. She woke up and pretty much got right to it today. So
those are the brutal days.
Yeah, I know. And she did that 2 days ago as well. She didn't do anything yesterday to focus on the track meet, and then she's like, well, I got to
hunker down today.
Yeah, crank it out today. So, but yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be a good time.
So the season's wrapping up right now. You guys head to conference in 2 weeks. You just won the Heart of a Shocker award. What is that for those who don't know?
Yeah. So that's an award given to a senior that has basically shown dedication and dedication to WSU and their sport. And so that's a good catch.
That's a great catch. Yeah. We have a furry visitor that is enjoying the podcast firsthand.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue on.
So it's given to a senior, and I was nominated this year, and I was very happy to win that. And I didn't really know going in, but it was one of the bigger awards they were giving out, and so they had a video for me, and the coaches said some nice things, and it was awesome.
So is that track specific, or is that across all?
That's all the sports at WSU. So
that's huge.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, the one thing you can always control is your effort, and like the Heart of a Shocker award, at least it seemed like to me, was like who really cared, who really gave it their all and was consistent, and that's cool, man.
Yeah. It's interesting. 2 years ago, I don't know if I would have won that award. But after having a COVID year and having being hurt a year and getting 2 more years, and still enjoying it the way I do and trying to be a leader and just continuing to run at, being able to show that dedication and have that much fun doing it has been awesome.
Was that like a cognitive switch for you? Like 2 years ago, like that was a point that you can look back at and you're like, I'm going to do things different.
Yeah. Well, so 2 years ago I was hurt, because so that would have been my 4th year. I got hurt, and then we won conference outdoor, and I wasn't part of it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I've got 1 or 2 more years. We got to make something happen. And things were going pretty good before. I mean, if you disclude COVID and all that, things were going pretty good. But then after my All-American indoor season, I got plantar fasciitis outdoor.
Jeez.
And then the next year I had a knee injury that, people asked me, and I'm like, I've cut that out. I don't even remember what the injury was. So if anything, it was more motivation. It's interesting coming into college, I thought I was gonna spend 4 years at WSU and get my undergrad, and then I was gonna go to K-State and be around some of my high school friends and get my MBA there or whatever. And that completely switched, and it's been awesome. It's been, these things like COVID and those sort of things went from being not fun times to the best things that ever happened to me, and being able to run 2 more years and getting engaged. We were talking, we had a senior send off yesterday, senior send off dinner. And, one of the guys on the team, he said, yeah, I met my wife on the team. I don't know if that'll happen to anyone else. I kind of raised my hand. I was like, me. Everyone laughed. And I don't know if that would have been the case if I wasn't here as long, if I wasn't here as long as I am. I think it could have been, but being able to stay around Marissa that long, and be able to run track with her just made our pre-engagement relationship even better.
It's special, man, and it's such a cool story to tell one day. Like, you're gonna look back and be like, "Wow, you couldn't have scripted it any better."
I know. Yeah, she came from Mizzou, transferred, and then we started dating. So and I mean, if she didn't transfer either, and transferred at the time she did, and everything, there's so many factors.
You couldn't have planned it.
No.
And that's the wild thing too. Is like just letting life happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very aggressive guy, and I want to go out and make as much stuff as I can happen. But I'm also like trying to be aware of some stuff. You just got to let it kind of work out as it's meant to work out, and it'll all take care of itself.
Yeah. That's one thing too. Is there. I gave a speech to my old high school seniors, their senior class there. You got to let go of the ball. There you go. Oh, boy.
Almost took the cable out.
Let's go that way. Maybe I shouldn't go that way.
Knock the camera down.
Yeah, oh, my gosh. So I gave a speech to the high school seniors there, and I told them about being patient and trusting God. And there's times that you won't want to be patient. There's times that you want to make things happen on your own. But all good things that happen to you are always happen when you're patient, and you let things just morph around you, and they'll morph the best way.
I like that.
They're supposed to. So
was it cool talking to your old high school?
Yeah. Well, my brother was sitting front row. My brother Luke signed with WSU to run.
That's huge.
This year. Went on a visit to WSU after tearing his ACL during football. It was unfortunate for him. His football season came to an end early. But he went on a visit a couple months after tearing his ACL. They offered him, this was the place he wanted to go, so he took it. Mm-hmm. He said, I kind of talked to him about it and whatever, and said, like, if you sign now, because, they said, well, if you run better, we can maybe offer you more, whatever. They did that to me too. They do that to everyone.
Right.
But I told him, I said, if you sign now, you don't really have to worry about how your season goes after tearing your ACL. So he did that. Anyways, he came back about a month ago. He got off a month early. He wouldn't have been back till now if he didn't do all his rehab and do everything correctly. But he came back a month early from an ACL tear, and just yesterday he matched his PR from last season. So and last season he got second. Well, he was ranked first, and some other guy had a really good race. So he got second last season in the 110 hurdles. But this season he's already matched that PR. He went from running 15 seconds last week to 14.7 and then 14.4. So he improved by over half a second in just one meet, which was awesome. It was awesome to see.
That's got to feel so good knowing that, like, because there's got to be some self-doubt. I just got injured, kind of returned back to where I was originally, and to be able to get back to it that quick is huge.
Yeah, well, and especially, I've talked to my parents about it. It's especially emotional for them because they watched him go through all of that rehab and pain and suffering that he went through, not being able to run and do athletics for so long, which is, our whole family loves athletics. And so to not see him be able to do any of that and just sit there, however many times a day and do his exercises and then come back and run and run at a high level is emotional and awesome to see. It's inspirational. Yeah. So, yeah.
Is he a better athlete than you?
He's taller. I don't know about athlete.
That's tough.
he'll have to prove that. That's what I love about track. That's why I did track in college, because no one can tell you whether you're better than someone else. It's all about times.
Yeah.
So
the times don't lie.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I've set some high bars. Well, I told my brothers, I said, please go ahead and break those. I'm not going to have any hard feelings. So I'd love to see him take one of my school record hurdle times down, especially in the 110s.
Yeah.
I think it's like 14:27. So he's a couple tenths off, which is not too bad. And he's getting faster. He's still got 3 more meets. So
yeah,
I hope he does it, especially before coming into college at WCU. So
you're gonna go watch his meets. I can tell you're gonna be like the crazy supportive brother that's like out there yelling, all hyped up.
Dude, I'm the crazy supportive just teammate on the team.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had a 400 hurdle race, and the guys they all 3 of our guys in that race ran PRs.
Yo.
And I always go down to the 300 for that race of the 400 meter hurdles. I go to the 300 mark and I sit there and I yell at them, because that's the hardest part. You get to 300 and then your legs turn to jelly and you start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
So I go down there and I yell at all of them. And I sprinted down the field after the race. I saw the times and I just started running, and I got there and I started yelling at all of them. And it's just that kind of stuff's inspirational too. I mean, 2 of those guys were hurt for like a month. They didn't run the first few meets of the season because they were hurt, and now they're running PRs. One of the guys, so the top 2 guys, they're both going to regionals now, which is awesome. And then the other guy, so my best 400 hurdle was 57 seconds. Not good. Maybe it was 56 high or something. But then there's a guy who's a freshman who ran a 55 his first time, and he was absolutely dead after his first race when we were in Texas. He ended up coming back this week and PRing by another second. So he's at 54, and I never even got close to that, and I ran it more times than he did. I retired those. I'm not good at it, so thankfully I don't have to do that anymore.
Don't judge me by that.
But I love it's one of my favorite races to watch, because people are like me and they suck and it's funny to watch, or they're really good and it's awesome to watch. So that race was awesome to watch.
Yeah, that's solid, man. What has it been like? Because I've been around you whenever there's been other younger athletes on the team, and that you're definitely a leader to them. And that's probably a weird thing to be like, having people look up to you. You're setting an example, like being cognizant of that. How has that experience been for you?
It's been awesome. People like to call me old man, and I think it's funny. Some people have said I'm like the dad of the team.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I really do like it. I'm actually the only one out of the freshman class of 2018 left on the team, which some people didn't get hurt, ran out of eligibility or whatever. Some people went to med school. People are doing great things, but I'm like the last one left out of 2018 class. And so it's pretty awesome that everyone on the team since my freshman year is new. But I felt like I've gotten to know everyone pretty well. I've gotten to know everyone pretty well. I like that I'm able to set an example. I kind of also set an example on the bus of being social. Sometimes the bus is quiet. I just get up and start talking to people.
There you go.
Get the bus going, get the team chemistry going, and it's been awesome. So being able to be a leader for these people.
She is so close to ending this podcast. No, that's solid.
How's the restaurant coming along?
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that still doesn't really feel real yet.
Yeah.
Like I've done enough real things where I've had moments of like, oh, this is real and it's happening. But like conceptually, when I think about owning and opening a restaurant and everything that goes into that, not both on a day-to-day, but also grand picture of how much that costs and what it takes and how many people are putting collective effort into this. And it's a really, really weird thing.
Yeah. Are you like ready for that opening day? Like, can you even picture it? Like however many people are going to be there and like things actually moving.
I can picture pretty well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people in Wichita that are invested like emotionally and want to support John and I. I'm so excited for us to open and to actually be able to have them come out and see what we've been working on. And the cool thing about a restaurant is like, it's a place where you can provide an experience. Like you go there to eat, but you also go there to like, it's good vibes. You like the people there. If you know the owner and you like the owner, like that makes it all that much better.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to almost be like, you're talking about being the old guy and being kind of like the fun one that people are like, oh, I always go say hi to Joe and talk to him, whatever. I'm excited to be like, oh, I'm going to the restaurant because I'm going to see Jacob or John and we can talk to them and catch up and just see how things are going.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Marissa at one point had talked about really being interested in the gym. Is that something you share an interest in?
Yeah. I mean, my whole life has been athletics pretty much.
Yeah.
But part of athletics is being fit and lifting and everything. So, I told her, I said, I would love to do that. I said, I'll, if I work a job and that's something you want to do, I'll help you fund it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once you get it going, I'll jump ship and I'll start helping you out.
Man.
So if that's still something she wants to do, that I think that would be fun. We talked about doing it online and in person. So still
both of them
thinking about that.
Yeah.
One or the other or both would work technically. So
yeah. That is something that I've always, a gym is like really hard business wise. So is a restaurant, but like I've always thought it'd be so cool to have a gym as well, specifically because it's like you're there all day. So you can get a great workout in.
Yeah.
You can like control the quality of that.
Yeah.
But also it's like such a cool way to bring people together and like everyone's there to get better. And that's such a great environment.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Marissa working at a gym now, she over the summer sometimes would just be like, well, I'll just, I'm here because there's two people coaching. If the other person's coaching, she'll just jump in sometimes.
There you
she'll
go.
just do a workout there. So yeah.
That's super cool. And then so you've got Survival was the board game we talked about last time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're talking about it now, but there's something else you've been working on too.
Yeah. So I did publish it, and I'm thinking about kickstarting it. It's a card game called Barbell, and I kind of got inspired by some other card games, and I was playing a card game with some buddies, and I was like, man, like this is just such an easy game. Like it's so simple. Like why can't I do this?
Yeah.
And I was like, screw it. I'm going to come up with something. And I sat down, like, what am I interested in? I was like, sports, lifting, whatever. So I came up with Barbell, which is a card game. And you get points for putting weights on your barbell and trap bar. And, you got this whole setup. There's a bunch of cards with, different plate sizes on them and stuff like that. So I came up with that and I've played it with people and they've enjoyed it. And I've had some people buy it, which has been awesome.
So you're already selling it?
Yeah, I've sold some.
Dude.
So I would like to maybe kickstart it because I can make more money and I can get the game out there more if I do Kickstarter on it. I could also maybe do like a crowdfunding on the website I use. But I think that Kickstarter reaches more people, and if I come up with a good Kickstarter page, that looks good and creative, and people are interested in, it would do better than having to advertise it myself on these platforms because my Instagram is decent, but it's not where I want it to be yet. So.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Kickstarter, that is a crowdfunding platform where like you can post a project you're working on, put some of your materials like a video, and then Kickstarter is the one where people can invest money in that. In exchange, they'll get like a board game from you, or they'll get like maybe a custom, like you can write their name on the instruction manual or something like that.
Yeah.
And they have other ones too, where WeFunder, for example, they invest money, but they get equity in the company. So it's just a different exchange. Have you thought about the difference between those options?
I mean, the equity for the company part right now, I'm kind of just considering myself a sole proprietor. I don't want to, I don't have any employees or anything. So, I think for me, it's easier for me right now without any cash flow at all to just have other people make it.
Yeah.
And I'm the designer and I just I could ship it out too. I know people who've done shipping stuff, so I could ask them about the easiest ways to do that and everything. But I think that Kickstarter is a good way to do it because, one, it's a popular platform, and two, you can kind of get creative with what you sell. So if I wanted to be like, okay, here's this board game, your tier one is okay. I sent you a letter, thank you for your $1 donation. Tier two would be like, okay, you get the game, and maybe it's $20 or whatever. And then tier three is like a game and an expansion or something like that. And you can just go, and people don't have to put a certain, if they want the board game, they've got to put this much money in, but they're not forced to say, okay, I want all of this stuff. I just want part of it. I'd like to get email updates about, I'm Board Games.
That's your company.
The company. Yeah. The company. Which I kind of set something up before, but I just didn't have enough audience to really sign up for that.
Right.
And I'm trying to I'd like to come out with one more game before I make a website and maybe kickstart it, just so I can have something else up there for people to look at. I've done a lot of brainstorming and just random designing on stuff. So I'd like to come out with one more different type of game. So I'd have survival and barbell, and I did have a card game called Hole in One, but I've kind of scrapped it because I think if I wanted to do that, I could make it better now.
Yeah,
it was kind of it was a good idea, but it was, to me now, after doing survival and barbell, it's almost like a draft of a game. So your standards kind of raised. Yeah, I've raised my standards a lot, especially because even when I was in middle school, I was like, oh, I can make these board games. Like, me and my brothers were always coming up with these different games to play and everything like that. And so finally, I had all these ideas for games, and I was like, let's just sit down and do it.
Yeah.
And I took about a year to make everything, finalize the instructions, and put the game out.
You just had barbell. That's what you've been working on now as she bites my entire hand. It seems like when you get started with something like this, it's hard to get things moving, and it takes a long time to figure out what you're actually doing and who's going to manufacture it, how to design everything. And it seems like as you've made more games, that's gotten easier for you.
Yeah, I've just had a decent number of conversations with people about just trying to find people to manufacture, because the site I use now for people to buy off of, they manufacture it and they ship it right to you. Well, I mean, that ends up being more expensive. I make less money off of it, which I'm not too concerned about money right now. Right. But if I'm going to kickstart it, obviously I have to have funds to do all that, and things need to be cheaper and all that. So, I've gone through and I've got quotes from different manufacturers of price points for the games and shipping costs and everything. And I've got the cheapest one. I found a cheaper one, but obviously the more games I get, the less. And this is true for any industry. The more you get, the less it costs.
Yeah, buying
per piece, or everything. So, things have gotten a bit easier. Just figuring out what different platforms to use to design, and best ways to when to buy it, what to put on the site, the site that I sell it off of, and everything like that. So,
how does it feel having your first couple sales?
Dude, it was nice. It was interesting because I texted you that first time I sold it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that person.
Yeah, I know you said that. And I was like, dude, let's go.
It was just some person in another country that bought it, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I didn't even know, because I didn't get an email about it. Sometimes I don't get emails when people buy the game.
That's odd.
And so, from my point of view, it's like I don't have to do any manufacturing or shipping or anything. So it's easy for me. I can just, someone bought it. All right, transfer the money, whatever it is. But if I want to move forward with this, I'd obviously have to have, stock and, on hold of the board game.
Right. Inventory.
Inventory. And I'd have to ship it myself and everything. So that's just something, if I kickstart it, you got to take into consideration.
Right. There's like the whole scaling process. You got to be able to move a lot more units at once.
Yeah.
But having the first couple is just, at least it's an indication that people are interested.
I know. Yeah. yeah, it means I did a decent enough job, like on the page where the board game sells, like selling it to people. So,
well, I know we're getting kind of short on time here, Joe, but I wanted to say thank you for coming back on the podcast. And where can people find you online and learn about the board games?
So I'm Board Games on Instagram. It's the logo's half brain, half light bulb.
I really like that logo.
Yeah. I went through and asked a bunch of people, which ones they liked and everything. So that was the winner. But I like it too. So I'm Board Games on Instagram, BORED instead of your normal board games, BORED. And then my main Instagram is J Holthusen.
There it is. And you can find me on Instagram at Jacob O'Connor. And then the podcast is at Real Period Conversations. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with a friend. I hope you guys found both Joe and the dog entertaining. We've had to stop and restart 3 or 4 different times. Hope Sadie's doing the best she can over here, so we're going to wrap it up so we can go play fetch with her. Joe, looking back at this really cool journey you've been on, what advice would you offer to your 22-year-old self?
Man, just what I've learned now. Just be patient and good things will come. No matter what happens, you're going to have bad times, and just be patient and everything will work out the way it's supposed to.
Do you feel like patience gets easier the more that you consciously try to do it? Or do you feel like it's always as difficult? You just know how hard it's going to be?
It's definitely difficult. But as you start to learn that good things come from it, and you're instead of being patient and thinking, the bad things are going to happen if I don't do things right now, you learn that being patient, good things are going to come.
It's more about knowing what's on the other side of it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate